Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA,
where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA way. And I'm telling you right now, that is the type of day you want to start off with, because Mark wrote a book about it. One of the most powerful books I've ever read. It's on the Amazon bestseller list. And my business partner, Nurse Mark of the Green Nurse, wrote this book.
Oh my God. And if I can do it, so can you.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Well, me too. If I can do it, so can you.
Absolutely.
But this was so good, Mark. I keep plugging this. And the reason why this is so good is because it brings, it brings together. I've studied, I've learned from the swamis. I've studied all types of, principles, spirituality, healing modalities, and you just bring it in such a nice way. And the part that I love about it that makes it even more powerful is that it supports the number one system in our body, the endocannabinoid system.
The ECS, which, we love to talk about. I mean, we're all about the endocannabinoid system, Sherry. It's what we do. It's why we're here in the morning. It's why we have this amazing event tomorrow.
Oh, the event tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get to that.
That's the part that's so cool, is because the event tomorrow that we're going to talk about is going to be an experiential event where you're able to take all of these things that we've been teaching you and apply them in person with us safely. It's going to be a blast because we're going to take you on a journey, right? We're going to hold your hand, bring you through the farm, bring you through the magic, the Green Nurse magic that we want to create for those people that have purchased their ticket.
So much fun. It's going to be so much fun. And the weather's going to be perfect. Oh, yes. Morning, Jack.
There you go. Activate your endocannabinoid system. So listen, if you haven't gotten a ticket yet, if you're in New England, Massachusetts, you don't want to miss this. It's going to be a great day. We're not making any money off it. The ticket is just covering us to be able to have this at the farm. That's it.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of volunteers, a ton of sponsors, plenty of products, plenty of education, packets of handouts.
We got it all.
We got it all because you know why? AFA.
That's right. Listen, I did speak to all the farm animals, and they are going to be on their best behavior. They're all in agreement. This is going to be great. They're excited to see everybody.
Good.
It's going to be a fun time.
It is going to be a fun time. So a reminder, I'm going to do a couple advertisements later today. We're actually going to go live tonight. One of our sponsors is going to introduce her company and all the fun things. She's donated a ton of stuff. So anyways, join us a little bit later live. We're going to introduce one of the cannabis nurses, one of the green nurses in North Carolina. So that'll be really fun. She's donating to the cause. She can't be there in person. So she's giving the gift of CBD in her company and all kinds of cool stuff.
Gift of love.
The gift of love. And that leads us into what?
The daily love. And Sherry, I know when you hear this daily love, you're going to absolutely be like, of course, that's the daily love for today. Of course it is.
Because you know why? Mark? Whether you believe it or not, partner, we be vibing.
We be vibing all the time.
We be vibing. Well, here's the thing is, so the empathic nature, we're able to think, feel, see, know. I can smell your thoughts a million miles away.
They're good, too. They're juicy. All right.
They are juicy.
Y'all ready now?
Yeah.
Are you ready for the daily love?
I'm ready for you, Nurse Mark.
This one's called guidance.
Nice.
I heed my inner guidance and work for my success. My mind is full of ideas and plans and dreams and goals. At times, it may be difficult to sort them out and formulate a cohesive plan that ensures my success. This is where my guidance comes in. To receive my inner knowing clearly, I quiet my mind to better tune into the still small voice, my link to my divine nature.
Yes.
With every plan I create, I remind myself that I need not rely solely upon my knowledge and reason. I also can access my guidance, which I may discern as a persistent feeling or a nudge to do something.
Mm.
If my guidance is unclear or difficult to discern, I wait with patience until I can determine how to proceed. I
Yeah.
allow my inspiration to speak to me as I continue on my path.
Here we go. I love that. Here's the interesting
Woo!
thing too that I love about the guidance. You got to
Yeah.
think about, because of the polarity and the dichotomy that we have. You just think about it. You can have a few different chatty conversations going in your head. And
Oh,
the loudest voice in your head is the voice that you probably shouldn't be listening to.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
that, like you said, that
It's the
small
still small
still
voice.
that's
Like
in
that's
there.
always the theme, right?
Yeah, it's the voice that's whispering the
Yeah.
loving, powerful thoughts,
Uh-huh.
the voice that's giving you the message to help you to process information as it
Yeah.
comes your way, and from a
Yeah.
place of not the past, but what is happening. What are the facts?
Hmm.
What are the
Hmm.
facts? What are the facts that are happening? And then what are your feelings around it? And how can you
Yeah.
separate that?
Yeah.
And so that's the
Hmm.
inner guidance, really tapping into spirit and slowing down, right? When you don't know what to do. And this is the part too with Mercury retrograde. It's a time of reevaluate, rethink, rework,
Hmm. Yeah.
replan,
Yeah.
redo, rearrange,
Yeah.
reconnect. So that's the part that's so
Reconnect.
cool for me, even through this whole eclipse season, the new moon, the astrology, the energy shifting, the cosmic energy, which I'm
Yeah.
all into, is that it's you have to slow down to pay attention to those messages, especially like you said, if there is confusion and the confusion, right? And so it's just step back, sit and let it play out the way the
It.
divine, right? The
Yeah. You
divine
gotta feel
matrix
it.
wants it to play out. So it's,
Hmm.
yeah. So I that's a great message.
It
And
is.
that's kind of how I felt this morning. Cause yesterday I was kind of feeling a little funky. I was processing some emotion. And
Hmm.
I know, here's the interesting thing, the body totally keeps score. So when I develop a migraine
Always.
headache, I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, what's going on? And it was definitely stress
Yeah.
related. So I took the evening off. And this morning I took a 100
Beautiful.
milligram bath bomb and CBD.
You
And
are
that was
you
the
are immersed in
I was
cannabinoids.
immersed in cannabinoids and literally doing some
Why
meditating and
not?
some praying. And I
Yeah.
had my hair up. This is a funny story. I had my hair up because I didn't
Yeah.
want to get it wet because I did it
Yeah. I don't
yesterday.
know about that kind of stuff, but I'll take your word for it.
And I sunk into the bathtub.
Uh,
And then I was a floating head. And then it was like my alarm went off so I could get out of the tub because once I'm
yeah.
in there, it's hard to get out. And I said,
Oh,
oh,
hell
it's time to rebirth myself
yeah.
into a new day. So I
Yeah.
went all the way underwater and
Yeah.
said a little prayer and said, I'm
Hmm.
going to emerge out of this water with a new set of fresh eyes. And I'm
Yeah.
going to allow, right, like a new baby
Yeah.
that's new, born, everything's new. And I
I
want to look
know.
through the eyes, the lens
Hmm. Hmm.
of
Love it.
pure divine AFA. So, yeah, boom. I love that. Body keeps score.
You
There's
just
still
bathed
something
your
in your,
largest body organ with cannabinoids. Your skin.
y'all
Yeah.
know,
All
y'all
those
know.
receptors.
I am all about cannabinoids, completely
Yeah.
100%. It's
So
that's
that's what
why
we're
we're
going to
here
talk
every
about
day.
today. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to talk about cannabinoids. Happy Friday,
Fry,
Ashley.
fry, high
Yeah,
day.
we're going to talk about cannabinoids. Surprise, surprise.
I
But
know.
we're going to talk about it in the context of diabetes.
We
Because
are.
if you don't have diabetes, you know somebody who does.
Yeah, you do. And
Yeah.
so, and diabetes is a serious thing. People die
It's a
of it, and
serious thing,
it's really
Sherry. How
serious
many
because
times when we're working with patients in the hospital setting, vast majority of them have diabetes, and
well,
it
the other
creates
thing
other chronic health issues that
it
they
does.
have to deal with. Like I have family members that have to deal with this kind of thing, and it's horrible for them to have to do
Yeah.
that.
It
Yeah,
totally is. In the endocannabinoid system, so you think about diabetes, and we're going to get into the endocrine disorder. The endocrine
yep,
system is so 100% essential because you think about, right, metabolizing nutrients, getting glucose into our cells as energy to
hmm,
fuel the trillions of cells we have in our body.
that's right.
So really important. And this is how important it is. Remember, Mark, when you were in nursing and when you would
Yeah,
go to give insulin, you would
yep,
have to have another nurse double check the dose of insulin.
absolutely, Yeah.
right? Because
Yep.
there is no room for error when it comes to diabetes. Someone can die like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Too
that
much,
blood
not enough. Yeah. It's
too
a
little,
it's a
not
it's a
enough.
very strict window. And
Yeah,
that's what makes it so hard, Sherry, right? Because we're creatures of habit, and to get into the habit of having to give yourself insulin all the time, or to deal with this, or even harder than that is change how you eat. Because many times when you get into that, when you start to develop diabetes, you have to change how you're going to eat
yeah,
going forward. Sometimes, most of the time, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't change, and then you
I
just deal
know.
with it with medications and insulin, because it's so hard to change the
It
habits that
is.
are in place.
Yeah. So that's why
Yeah.
we're here to educate you to start
Why
making those
we're
changes
here.
one step at a time. That's it. So,
That's right. That's
one
right.
one bite
It's
one
in the
bite at a
book.
time.
Yeah.
One
It's
bite at a
right.
time.
One bite at a time. You can change it.
You
Yeah.
can
And it
change
really
it.
is about that. And it's in the book, right? It's about changing habit. How do you change a habit? How do you instill a new neural pathway, which
Way.
gets
Yes.
activated? I mean, it's,
Well,
yeah.
here's a good question too for change. And this is just an awareness. So
Yeah.
every time that you're going to do something, you
Hmm.
know, when it comes to your body, the
Yeah.
question, just think about asking a question. Does this
Hmm.
support my endocannabinoid system or not?
It's a good
Does
question
this,
to ask.
right? It's a
Good
and it's
question to ask.
simple. It's a
Yeah.
really simple thing to ask. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's either yes or no,
It is clear.
or maybe
Yeah.
if you don't know.
You can
But
usually,
anyways,
you know
you
what?
can
If you
usually
sit
know.
still for a minute, that still small voice will say,
Voice, yeah, I
good,
know.
good,
Well,
bad,
here you
bad.
go. Yeah.
You'll
For
know.
me, well, here's how I'll know. If I have
Yeah.
to even ask that question.
Yeah.
So if I have to pose that question in my mind, is this good for me or not?
You already know
Nine
the
times.
answer.
I know the
Yeah.
answer. So
So
that's why
true.
we ask the question, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to do it anyways.
Got it.
Anyways, so that
All right.
good topic. So think about this on Tuesday. So
Mhm.
this has been a huge week about diet, nutrition, microbiome, cannabinoids that support our digestive system, our endocrine
Mhm.
system. So Tuesday we covered the cannabinoid THCV and its benefits. One of the benefits of this cannabinoid was to help with diabetes and obesity. And Wednesday, we covered obesity, and the results were astounding 86% overall positive.
Right.
So, cannabis, the bottom line was cannabis may
Yep.
help with obesity because all of the components of the endocannabinoid system are present in the gastrointestinal system, allowing for our own, we make our own internal endogenous cannabinoids to support
Mhm.
that, the enzymes. So that's the part that's so cool. The endocannabinoid system connects, like we said,
Mhm.
all of these different systems together. So today we're going to discuss diabetes, and it's an
Mhm.
endocrine disorder of the endocrine system. It's considered a nutritional and metabolic disease. It's
Yes.
also known as brittle diabetes,
Mm.
gestational diabetes, neonatal diabetes,
Mm.
post-procedural diabetes, and type 2 diabetes. So those are
Yeah.
the names that they give to it. But Mark, what about the description of it? Because we have,
So,
there's a
yeah,
traditional
diabetes
orthodox medicine.
mellitus. So,
Yeah.
traditional orthodox medicine categorizes diabetes into three kinds. There's
Yep.
type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes, like you said. Type 1 was once called juvenile diabetes because it occurred mostly in children or adolescents. So, with type 1 diabetes, the pancreas itself stops producing the hormone insulin. Certain cells that create insulin within the pancreas simply stop working. So
Right.
without insulin, the body cannot get glucose into the cells, meaning that's the chemical tool that takes the glucose from your bloodstream and allows it to enter the cell, right? It's like a lock and a key.
Yep.
Um, and it means that the food that we eat does not get used in the way it needs to be, because insulin does carry that glucose, that sugar, into the cells, and that's the source of fuel for the cell, right?
Right.
So the
Yep.
treatment for that is insulin administered by the patient. I mean,
Right.
it would be really hard for people for a long time. They'd have to physically give themselves a shot every single day, multiple times a day. It's gotten somewhat better because they
Right.
have insulin pumps now that they can
Right.
either insert into the body or wear on the outside, that allows for
The steady.
consistent, steady stream. But
Yep.
still, I mean, it's just really difficult. The next
Yeah.
one's type 2, right? That's the one that we're most
Yep.
commonly working
And
with.
that's
Yeah.
a functional. So you think about type 1
Hmm.
diabetes is a structural issue.
Hmm.
The pancreas stops producing insulin. Type
Right.
2 or adult onset diabetes, which is the
Hmm.
most common, is a
Right.
functional issue. So the
Right.
pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin as
Hmm.
efficiently as it should,
Right.
or our body is insensitive to the presence
Right.
of insulin and ignores it. So the glucose doesn't get into our cells, it's just floating
Right.
around in our bloodstream. So what
Hmm.
happens is this prevents the body from converting sugar into energy, right?
Yeah.
So so the the pancreas is producing a little bit, not
Yeah.
enough, or our body saying, "Great, you're there, but I'm not
Yeah.
going to use you to do what you're supposed to do," right?
And
And so
many
then,
times this is associated with lifestyle. More
yes,
times than not, it's associated with lifestyle. And that's why if you go to the physician regularly on an annual basis for your physical, which you should do, what they'll do is they'll do an A1C. They'll check what your blood glucose levels have been for, I think it's like a 90-day look back,
yep,
right?
it is. It's a 90-day look back,
A
and they take
90,
the average.
90
So
day
that's
look back and they see what the
the
average is,
average.
and it's a number, right? So
Yeah,
we like it to be 5 or below, right?
right.
I think
Yep.
6 or
Yep.
below, 5
A1C.
or below.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah.
in any event, you really, that's why they do that, because they want to be able to get on the front end of it. If they see that your level has gone up, your A1C, then they're going
Yep.
to have the discussion about, okay, what's going on in your life? What are you
Yeah.
eating? What are you doing? Are you getting
Yep.
any exercise? So,
Yeah.
the problem is, Sherry, that when you start down that path of starting to have issues to going pre-diabetic, right? It's like that cascade that we talk about. Other things happen to your body. Your endocannabinoid system stops working as efficiently, and all of these other things come into play. And then all of a sudden, you're off to the races. Type 2 diabetic,
Yeah.
metabolic syndrome,
Yeah.
all
Issues
of
with
those.
kidneys, issues with skin, issues with infection. You could just
Oh, yeah.
go on and on. It
Yeah.
does snowball
My great
for
grandfather
sure.
lost both his legs because of gangrenous toes from having ingrown toenails, right? Diabetic, extreme diabetic, apparently a very big drinker, which is
Yeah.
not good when you're a diabetic.
Uh-uh.
And that, this was
No.
back in the
It's
50s,
all
right?
sugar.
So, yeah. So heavy drinker, didn't take care of himself and lost both legs.
That's
Yeah.
man, I can't even imagine. Like,
And
honestly.
I have a friend in New York City who had a wound on his foot, literally has been working on trying not to lose his foot for 2 years. Yeah. So,
Mm,
diabetes is serious, serious stuff. So
yeah.
we're going to get into how cannabinoids
It
can help
helps.
that. But the
Third
last
type.
third type
Yeah.
is gestational, and that occurs when someone's pregnant, they're carrying the
Yeah.
baby, and during that 9-month period of time, their glucose regulation goes off, and they have gestational diabetes, which usually resolves after the birth, right, Sherry?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, I've seen it, and usually resolves after the birth, but for the
Hmm.
most part, when women have it, they want to ensure that the
Yep.
mom gets adequate energy into her cells to support the baby
Yeah.
and not have
Yeah.
those sugars be too much of a swing. So hormones play a huge part, not
Hmm.
only in, pregnancy or even the pancreas and our metabolism, but
Yep.
also our endocannabinoid system. So estrogen and fluctuating
Yeah.
levels of hormones all affect our endocannabinoid system. So,
Right. Right.
the more we can do to take care of ourselves, the better.
Hmm.
So
Darn right.
symptoms.
Yeah. What do we
Symptoms,
got
this
for
is
symptoms?
okay. I'll go through the list. Okay, increased thirst, which is called
Hmm.
polydipsia.
Yep.
Increased frequency of urination, which is called polyuria.
Hmm.
Hypoglycemia is low blood sugar levels.
Yep.
Polyphagia is increased appetite. So they're hungry. People are hungry, eating
Hmm.
because their cells are starving because they're
Right.
not getting the sugar into their cells.
Right.
Sweet smelling urine because they're going into ketoacidosis,
And
right? They're
those are the
burning.
ketones.
So here's
Hmm.
the thing. So think about this is that they're not getting energy into their cells. They're
Yep.
not getting glucose into their cells for energy. So how does the body compensate?
Oh, it
By
says, hey, we
starting
got
to
a
burn
problem.
fat. I need energy. The body goes, oh, I need energy. There's no energy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Compensation comes in and you start to burn fat for energy. Your body wants to stay alive. Right?
Yeah.
So the sweet smelling urine, that's it. So what about some of the other symptoms, Mark?
Oh, generalized weakness, blurred vision, itchy skin, slow healing wounds, diaphoresis, sweating, trembling, acetone-like smelling breath because of the same reason, the ketones. You have that sweet smelling urine, you have acetone-like smelling breath. Aggressive behavior, altered mental state, because glucose is providing fuel for the brain as well. Which the brain, by the way, uses most of the fuel that the body takes in, right?
Absolutely.
Seizure activity, loss of consciousness, and you could go into a diabetic coma, and that's what that's the serious thing is,
loss of consciousness. So think about our brain, all of our cells need to be fed micronutrients through glucose, gets in through the insulin that the pancreas creates. So you just imagine if your sugar levels are too low, you're not getting the glucose to your brain. And then what happens is your brain function. You could think we're feeding all of the cells in our brain. You're starving your cells if there's, and if there's not enough glucose to go in. And then the other thing too is too much. So it's that whole balance, complete balance. Let's get into the studies, because this is where I'm all excited, because I'm looking at the studies and I am getting really, really excited. This is huge numbers. Mark, I'm going to let you take this over because you're really good at it.
Well, diabetes is such an epidemic that anytime we find anything that might be efficacious in battling it, we're going to do some studies, and that includes cannabis. Even with all of the prohibitions we've had in place on research, there's been a lot that have been done. So we looked at 67 total studies. There were 4 lab, 19 animal. And again, that's how you go: lab, animal, humans. Right. So there were 13 meta-analysis, which is a conglomeration of all studies. And then they look at all of them and they decide which are the best out of the group. And then they form an opinion from those. There were no clinical human trials, but there were 3 double-blind placebo human trials, which is the gold standard if done correctly. Here's the exciting part, Sherry. Overall positive, 95%.
That's you ready for this one? That's huge. That's like the overall positive. Now we're going to take it to the next positive. Clinically positive is huge. And the reason why clinically positive is huge is because it directly correlates to these studies. 100% clinically positive on the studies that they have done. That's big numbers.
Oh, unbelievable.
Right? I know. So I thought we would just do one study review. We'll take a look at one study. So it was the summary of clinical dosing for diabetes mellitus. So it was a random, double-blind, placebo-controlled study looking at the efficacy and safety of CBD and THCV on glycemic and lipid parameters. So looking at those levels in patients with type 2 diabetes. So they basically did 5 different treatment arms. So they gave some patients 100 milligrams of CBD twice a day. Some patients got THCV 5 milligrams twice a day. Some patients got a 1-to-1 ratio of CBD and THCV 5 milligrams and 5 milligrams twice a day. And then the last group, the placebo group. So the last group was 20-to-1 ratio of CBD to THCV. So it was 100 milligrams of CBD, 5 milligrams of THCV twice a day.
Exciting. Then we had, of course, placebo to compare
against.
They
matched it.
Oh, so my gosh.
They're matching. Here, you ready? So the results. So great. So compared to placebo, THCV significantly decreased fasting plasma glucose and improved pancreatic B cell function. So basically, the results were demonstrating that THCV could represent a new therapeutic agent in glycemic control in those subjects that have type 2 diabetes. So the part that's cool too is the CBD, they didn't have like this is just the one study that we're going over, but the CBD, when you think about CBD is the great influencer and works on all of the other neurotransmitter signaling systems. So truly, I'm not the expert researcher, but I see how the combination of both would be really, really effective for patients that do have type 2 diabetes, especially with all of those other comorbidities and issues that manifest.
Listen, we're not even touching on the fact that in diabetics, there's a lot of neuropathic pain, right? Yeah. Neuropathy is super common in diabetes, and it's super painful and not very well relieved by any other methodology. Opioids don't work well.
No.
NSAIDs don't work well. They have their whole, other side effects of gastrointestinal problems, right?
But and then they prescribe gabapentin too.
Right, gabapentin. They use Neurontin.
People need more. Yeah.
Probably most prevalently used, but not super effective, right?
No. Yeah.
Cannabis is super effective on neuropathic pain. So, let's add that whole thing into the mix as well, in addition to glucose regulation. So, yeah.
Yeah. Really cool. So basically the synopsis of cannabis research for diabetes mellitus is that we know that cannabinoids interact with our endocannabinoid system. And there are a number of mechanisms by which cannabis can positively affect diabetes mellitus. So when you think of and they produce therapeutic effects in cases of metabolic syndrome, type 1, type 2 diabetes, by improving the metabolic function, reducing insulin resistance, reducing obesity rates, improving lipid and glycemic parameters, reducing pancreatic inflammation, reduction in autoimmune dysfunction. It has antioxidant properties and a reduction in diabetic comorbidities. Huge.
And the comorbidities that will kill you.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the comorbidities that are associated with diabetes, which include higher risk of heart disease, higher risk of obesity, again, the neuropathies. And Sherry, despite the time-proven effects and preclinical evidence to date, only one human trial has been conducted to examine the general effects of the two cannabinoids, THCV and CBD, on diabetic patients. Of these two, however, THCV may provide patients with more therapeutic benefits. However, we're talking about floating the boat, right? However, the other cannabinoids support other areas, like you said, the CBD. It's floating the boat, right? It's doing
floating the boat. I love that.
Yeah,
CBD floats the boat.
Floats the boat.
It supports.
Right.
Good analogy. I love that.
Yeah, it makes you feel better in so many different ways that you can start to exercise again. You can get off the couch. You can do more, right? Make better choices. So there we go. Boom.
Did it. Boom. It's been
diabetes.
In diabetes. So it's been a great week of health and education, on spiritual principles, on cannabinoids that can help us with weight management and lipid metabolism and energy. We discussed the positive effects of cannabinoids on obesity and diabetes. And yesterday we had an amazing show where we talked about the history of all the diets and how fun that was.
Pick one. Yeah. Yeah. The bottom line is they all work. Just pick one that works for you. And that's it. That's yours. Yeah.
That's it. That's yours.
So what do we got going on? Hey, Trish.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. So it's been a bad Friday.
Oh, hell.
All right.
We got Frequency Friday at 9 a.m. Get some Healy on.
And actually, Frequency Friday today, because we had some issues with the Green Nurse community, we're going to go live right on the Green Nurse page today. So this will be the first time that we're doing Frequency Friday in the Green Nurse, because we usually do it in the community. So we're going to share the love with you all on this page today.
Ooh, awesome.
Yep.
That's good. All right.
Couple other things, Nurse Mark. We have our event tomorrow, June 12th.
You have an event tomorrow, Sherry?
We have an event tomorrow. Just got to remind y'all. High vibe and
where have I been?
Where have you been?
Yeah, what are we doing?
You've been floating your boat.
I've been floating my boat.
You've been floating your boat. So big event, high vibes with the Green Nurse, and to activate your endocannabinoid system. Come and have some experiential learning with us. We're going to provide you. We're going to hold your hand and take you on a journey, which is going to be fantastic.
Oh,
that's going to be a live journey. Now, Sunday, I wanted to experience cannabis journeying with a nurse guide. We have
Ooh,
Green Nurse Vanessa, who is going to be doing a cannabis nurse journeying. There's an event event link right in the notes down below. If you're
yeah.
interested, you need to sign up sooner than later because it's almost sold out.
Listen, cannabis has been used for thousands and thousands of years in a spiritual setting.
Yep.
It hasn't just been carried around for pain relief, which it has been. That's how it got spread throughout the world. Like it
Right.
started in Asia and it spread throughout the
Mm-hmm.
world. How? Because people figured out it was good and they brought it with them.
They did.
So
They carried it. Don't forget my
it's
seeds.
been used in spiritual
Yeah.
rituals for thousands of years. That's what this is built on,
Yeah.
right? This is going
Yeah.
to be a spiritual journey
It's spiritual
using
journey. And yeah, and
cannabis.
Vanessa has, she's Native American. She does have indigenous, a culture history. She's very
Shamanic,
rich
yeah.
history. Yeah, very beautiful guide with a lot of wisdom. And it's just a different way to experience
Hmm.
cannabis,
Yeah,
almost as an introductory to A, shamanic journeying, B, going
right.
deep.
Yeah,
Seeing how cannabinoids at high levels can affect your mind to help you to process emotion and
yeah.
go deep. So it's a
Very,
really good
very healing.
introductory. Yeah, really
Yeah,
good introductory
yeah.
to psychedelics. And
All
then
right.
Monday, Mark, what do we got Monday night?
Oh my gosh, the mentoring group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The
mastermind
mastermind.
Yeah,
And a part that I love about Monday is that Mark is going to be leading that because he
yeah.
is absolutely fucking amazing, and I'm excited for him. I'm gonna take a back seat on the bus and let him lead that.
Nice.
Lead
Excellent.
that group, which will be great. So
Yeah.
there's a link in there too if you're a health professional or a coach or anyone that wants to get involved in the cannabis space. This mastermind group
Hmm.
is great. We're going to bring you hope and inspiration and bring you tips and tricks and hugs and nugs of information as to how you can get involved and start
Yeah.
learning about cannabis and have it be a side gig. Working with clients, patients. There's so many different things to do in the cannabis space. Mark and I pretty much have done them all, and we will be able to guide and direct you if you want to enter in. So join us
Yeah.
in the mastermind on Monday.
In the mastermind. All
In the
right.
mastermind, yes,
Having an AFA day. Ripping it
having
up.
an AFA day,
Here
working it
we
up.
go.
Here we go.
This is a great Friday. All
It is a
right,
great
folks.
Friday.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a
Hopefully see you
wonderful weekend.
tomorrow. Hopefully see you later at 9 live stream. Sherry, come on, babe.
And you know what it's all about. And I am a living example. Sometimes it takes a bit of work, but I am a living example that I am here to live my best life and to help others do the same.
Yeah,
And to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good. We all
you
deserve to
know
feel
it.
good.
You
And we
know
love
it.
you.
Love you guys. Thanks for stopping by.